Welcome to the Centennial meeting of the Rotary Club of Dallas. My name is David Vilbig, and I am the president of the club. We would like to thank you all for being here. You'll notice we've started our meeting with the ringing of this bell. All Rotary meetings start with the chime of a bell, and this bell is very special. This bell was given as a gift to the Rotary Club of Dallas by our sister club in Mexico City in 1988, and we've been using it ever since. As you know, this is a very special meeting. It's the 100th birthday of the Rotary Club of Dallas, the first Rotary Club of Texas, and the 39th in the world. This is more than just a celebration about one club. Over the last century, Rotary in Texas has been the power of people like us to do extraordinary things. People like us helping our community one project at a time. People like us fund it one donation at a time. It is proof of our collective power to change the world. We would like to thank everyone for being here today to celebrate this great milestone. We always start our meeting with an invocation, and today is no exception. Our invocator today is currently the senior pastor of Zion Lutheran Church and School here in Dallas. He also serves as the first vice president of the Texas District Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod. Please stand for our invocation by the Reverend Robert Preece and remain standing.
Good afternoon. From the 136th Psalm. O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and his mercies endure forever. Let us pray. Almighty God, creator of all, you have organized the universe anticipating service offered one to another for the common good. Send down your Holy Spirit upon the Rotarians here in fellowship assembled and their guest, indeed upon all, that we may reject sin and incline our hearts unto virtue. Gear us for the good of others, following your divine design, surpassing our greed for self and personal gain. Keep on turning the Rotary clubs toward communities in need of help, locally and globally. For the century of saintly service rendered by the Rotary Club of Dallas, we give you thanks. We remember before you Chicagoan Paul Harris and his initial leadership in groundbreaking work for the world's first service club at the turn of the 20th century. We remember your servant Preece Cross for his envisioning of Rotary labor in Dallas 100 years ago this month, whereby he opened grand avenues for public assistance, enabling many to put service above self. As we dine in peace and safety today, humbly marking this significant centennial, keep us mindful of the world about us, especially in these days of conflict in Libya, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Guide us and our respected leaders, all the citizens of our land, and the members of our armed forces toward goodwill and peace, while moving boldly against violence, terror, and the oppression of people. And yes, we remember the Rotarians of Japan in their land and pray that relief and solutions may be found in the aftermath of earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear disasters. And now, bless, O Lord, these gifts of food and drink to our use and us to your continued service. Prosper those who have graciously prepared them for our strength and enjoyment. Make us mindful of those less fortunate than ourselves and always ready, willing and able to relieve and assist. in the name of the one who humbly said that he came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Now we have the presentation of the colors by Pack and Troop 915, Circle 10 Council, Boy Scouts of America.
Color guard, march forward. Color guard, halt! Would you please join us in the national anthem? Salute! Color guard, post colors. Color guard, return to post.
We have with us here a few of our Rotarians who are members of the Greater Dallas Rotary Chorus. For over a half a century, the Greater Dallas Chorus has sung around the world at Rotary International conventions and other events. Thank you so much for that accompaniment. Please be seated and enjoy the program and your lunch. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the chair of the day, Roy Bailey. Roy has been a member of the club for over 31 years. He has served as the president of our club in 1991 and 1992 and was the youngest president to be elected in the history of our club. Roy was a founding partner and managing director of Giuliani Partners, LLC in New York City with former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Bailey is the former finance chairman of the Republican Party of Texas and campaign chair for Pete Sessions for over 10 years. In the 2008 election cycle, he served as national finance chair for Rudy Giuliani presidential campaign. Mr. Bailey has been widely recognized for his civic and social activities. Would you please help me welcome Roy Bailey, Chairman of the Day.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon. Come on, you can do better than that. It's 100 years, for gosh sakes. Good afternoon. There you go. There you go. That's the way we get this meeting started. Mr. Mayor, Several years ago, 20 years ago, I guess when I was president, I got up here one Wednesday and I said, we're going to change things up a little bit. Instead of singing the Star Spangled Banner, we're going to change it up and sing the national anthem. So you got to get that. It's the same song, okay? Maybe I wasn't so dumb. I know you won't make that mistake, Tom. My best recollections of my earliest experiences in Rotary go back to Waco, Texas, my hometown, and I can remember like it was yesterday, going to the Rotary meetings with my father, who was a member, and watching my grandfather, Roy Hatch, lead the singing. And singing was a big deal at Rotary back in those days. They sung a lot of songs, and my grandfather, it used to embarrass me to death because I'd be on the front row, and the guys would be singing, and he'd say, "Come on, boys, you can do better than that. Sing it again." And I think, oh, my gosh. And now here I am telling you to say, "Good afternoon. Say it again." You know, so I guess apples don't fall far from the trees. What a great club we have. What a great organization. What a tradition. And how proud we are to be a part of this. And I want to tell you how honored I am to be able to serve as the MC. I really appreciate it very, very much. So I want to thank the members of the club for asking me to do this. It's a great honor for me. We have the event is for two purposes: to celebrate the centennial of our club and to recognize the great service of Texas Rotary clubs over the last century. Now, I know when you look around this club and you see some guys like Jim Griffith and Rod Kites and Ed Williams, you think, God, if we just had time for them to come up here and tell us what it was like 100 years ago to be at that first meeting. And I know that when I started in the club, I was like 23 years old, and my first assignment was to do the news. I couldn't hold a candle the way Carol used to do the news, but I started out, and I always used to tell a joke at the end, and I told a few jokes a few Wednesdays in a row, and God spoke to me, Earl Cullum, because he didn't like my Aggie joke. I never told another Aggie joke, but then when I was president-elect, I told a joke that some people have claimed to have heard, others have claimed to have heard of. Carol was trying to stop me in the middle of it. She was waving, "Don't go there, don't go there." And I'm not going to go there so everybody can relax. But it had to do with Liberace. And if you haven't heard it, you know, I'll tell it to you sometime in private. But I've grown a lot better judgment these days, kinder and gentler. And I was thinking of a joke that might work in this crowd, particularly, this is a Jim Griffith joke. So what do you call a group of rabbits hopping backwards? A receding hairline. Jim? Huh? So when you look around this room, there's plenty of receding hairlines, I assure you. I want to start by introducing our officers, and I'd like to ask you to hold your applause, if you would, until everybody's been introduced. Our esteemed President David Vilbig and his wife Barbara, please stand. I'd like to ask them to stand. President-elect Ben Casey and his wife Sue. Centennial Celebration Chair Jim Struble, and I don't believe his wife Wu is able to be with us today. Luncheon Chair John Forrest. Dinner Chair Richard Tesoro. President-elect Judge Bill Sanderson and his wife Sandra. Now I'd like to ask our current Board of Directors to please stand, if you would. And then I'd like to, thank you, then I'd like to ask our current Board of Trustees of the Dallas Rotary Club Foundation to please stand. Now, I'd also like to ask any past presidents that are with us today to stand, please. Gene, not to say anything, just to stand. Let's give them all a big hand. We have a lot of special guests and clubs that we want to recognize. I want to start out by recognizing our honorable and great former Mayor Tom Leppert. Tom, we're glad to have you here today. I'd like to ask the members of the Rotary Club of Mexico City, Ciudad de la Mexico City Rotary, to please stand. We're so thrilled to have you here. We have visiting Rotarians from the first two clubs formed in Rotary International, from Chicago Rotary 1 and from our parent, the Rotary Club of San Francisco. Would you please stand? We're thrilled to have you here with us. Thank you. We'd also like to ask our out-of-state Rotarians that are here with us to please stand as a group. If you're from out of state and you're Rotarian, please stand. And now I'd like to ask our visitors today, our visitors of Rotary, to please stand so we could welcome you. Thank you. We're glad to have you. And if there's anybody else that hasn't stood, if you want to fill out, if you want to stand up. I think there's a couple of waiters back there. I'm sorry, I haven't asked you to stand. Everybody can stand if they'd like. It's my pleasure to call to the podium Gary Griffith. Gary's going to read a proclamation. Gary's been a member of the club for over 25 years. He is a Woodrow Wilson alumni. He's a proud one. He always reminds us of that. He plays a key role in Safer Dallas, Better Dallas, which, of course, is partnered with our club. Gary was elected and served as a two-term Dallas City Councilman representing District 9, and he's the current president of the Today Foundation. Please welcome Gary Griffith.
It is my pleasure to share with you the following proclamation. The State of Texas Office of the Governor. Greetings. Know ye that this official recognition is presented to the Rotary Club of Dallas. Happy 100th birthday. I know this is an exciting occasion for all Rotarians as you celebrate a century of Rotary in Texas. Today, there are hundreds of Rotary clubs throughout the Lone Star State, and each one provides invaluable services to its members, its community, and its state. You truly do put service above self, exemplifying the enduring Texas tradition of neighbor helping neighbor. I know you will continue to make a difference for people around the world. First Lady Anita Perry joins me in wishing you continued success. Rick Perry, Governor of Texas.
Very nice. Thank you, Gary. Great job. You read it really well. Thank you, Gary. Now I'd like to call up Tom Leppert. Before being elected mayor, Tom was a leader of the business community in Texas. He was the CEO of Turner Corporation. He was a fantastic mayor of Dallas. He's now running for the United States Senate, and he'll be a very viable candidate. Please give a very warm welcome to Mayor Tom Leppert. Tom.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. And Roy, to all of you, it is a pleasure for me to be here. I can tell you that I have great feelings towards both Rotary clubs and Rotarians. I have spoken at clubs that span about 7,000 miles in distance. Now, I know many of you, that's a relatively small number given some of the clubs that you visited all around the country. And I'll also tell you that from a personal standpoint, there are certain of those opportunities that I've been in front of Rotary clubs that were very special. There was one time that I was addressing a club in Hawaii, and it was actually one of those speeches that I actually finished within the time limit that I was allowed. And thankfully I did, because as I walked off, I was given a note that said, you need to be in the hospital in 20 minutes because your twins are going to be born. So I have some very good memories of being in Rotary clubs. I want to thank all of you for everything that you can do. I can tell you, as someone that had an opportunity and a great privilege to serve this city, for the last 4 years, I understand that the strength of our city isn't down at City Hall. The strength of our city is people like you that have the principles of faith, allegiance to our country, and the idea of service, and will give of your time and of your resources to contribute not only to a greater community, but to individuals being involved in that community. I look over the years of what you've done, 100 years, and see so much of the impact. Some of that is efforts that are making a difference today. The way you reached out to the veterans and brought them home and celebrated their sacrifices, their contributions to our country. The way you reach out each year to our police to recognize their efforts that make a difference for each and every one of us in terms of protecting us. The way you've reached out in natural disasters and taken some of your financial resources and comforted individuals in times of need. But I'll tell you, I am probably most struck by what you do looking to the future. I am a great believer that leaders are those individuals who are willing to plant seeds, knowing that they may never sit underneath the trees. And I can't think of a better example than the Rotary clubs and Rotarians, because I see what you've done in terms of educating children on the free enterprise system, something unfortunately that's done much too little, and we all pay for it in terms of population that doesn't understand that the strength of our nation is through the private enterprise system. The way that you make resources available for children that gives them the opportunity for an education and opportunities that exceed their dreams. Reaching out and working with teachers and giving them opportunities. Those are things that will make a difference in our community long, long into the future. And I think that's what I think of Rotary. Setting a foundation for not only the success and service today, but a much stronger, a much more vibrant community long, long in the future. Carol and I were looking here at the past presidents and seeing a reflection and the evolution of our community. You can almost look at the pictures of the past presidents, and it almost looks like a road atlas, given all the streets and highways that are named after your past presidents. But I think more than that, it reflects the leadership that you've provided to a city. Over 100 years, this club has made a difference. That's what we all strive to do. All of you have done it. Thank you so much, not only for what you've done for the last 100 years, but maybe even more importantly, for what you'll do over the next 100 years. Thank you very much, and terrific efforts. Happy anniversary. Roy,
very good.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Great job. Great job. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Mayor. Bill Slicker is past president of our club. He's been a member for 23 years with perfect attendance. He has served as a permanent fund national advisor for our Rotary Zone and presently is the chairman of the Board of Trustees of our Dallas Rotary Club Foundation. Bill and his wife Phyllis, as you know, have been community leaders in philanthropic and charitable activities for over 35 years. Bill is known in Rotary for his enthusiasm with, "This is a great time to be in Rotary." Please welcome Bill Slicker.
All right. This is a great time to be a Rotarian. And what did all the Rotarians and guests say? This is a great time to be a Rotarian. Okay, I say it one more time. This is a great time to be a Rotarian. Okay, tremendous. A famous anthropologist once said that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed Rotarians can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Well, we're so grateful to have the Rotary International president come to speak to us and share some insights and catch up on some of the news, the cutting-edge things that are going on in Rotary International. He flew in from India yesterday to be with us. And President Ray, we are so grateful of your long leadership in Rotary, and especially this year as RI president. And so it's my pleasure to introduce our wonderful friend and terrific Rotary International President, Ray Klinginsmith.
There is a great American hero that we all look up to. When times are hard and chips are down, knows just what to do. A cowboy's got a set of roots that he lives by day to day. And if you ask for his advice, he'll more than likely say, if it's a fence, mend it. If it's a dollar bill, spend it. Before it burns a hole down in your jeans. If it's a load, truck it. If it's a punch, duck it. If she's a lady, then treat her like a queen. That's cowboy life. Every cowboy's got it. It's in the way he lives his life. Songs he sings, that's cowboy life. Every cowboy's got it. He's got a simple solution, just about anything.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Whoa, thank you. Wow, I love that song. Not only for the happy beat, but the words. Did you hear in there? Cowboy's got a set of rules that he lives by every day. Well, Rotarians have a set of rules. It's called the four-way test. And it also says a cowboy's got a simple solution to just about everything. And that's what we need in Rotary, is a clear-cut, straightforward view of how we can make the world a better place. Now, I want to tell you that song was recorded by Michael Martin Murphy at Billy Bob's, Texas, in Fort Worth. I noticed on the local news last night that Billy Bob's, Texas was 30 years old yesterday, and that it is the world's biggest honky-tonk. Well, you might stop and wonder, if it's a honky-tonk and it's in Texas, it's got to be the biggest, right? But why is it that Texans like honky-tonks? Well, it just so happens I'm an expert on Texas history. And for those of you that don't remember, the first shot for Texas independence was fired at Gonzales, Texas, a little town down south of Austin. Now, what you may not know is that there's another small town near there called Shiner, Texas, which is the home of Spetzel Brewery, which makes Shiner Bock beer. And near to that is another small town called Yoakum, Texas, where the Rotary Club has a country and western music show once a month. And so the history of honky-tonk is that the Mexican government had loaned a cannon to the Texans in Gonzales to use against the Indians. They didn't ever have to use it, but when the Texans began to talk about independence, the Mexican army came to take the cannon back. And there were 18 defenders who basically said to the 200-member army from Mexico, come and take it. And then they fired the cannon at the Mexicans, who decided it might be better to go get reinforcements. And they left, and the Texans came out, started cheering, patting each other on the back, telling each other how brave they were. Then they rode over to Shiner and drank beer. Then they went down to Yoakum to the country music show. And that's why ever since, Texans are known for shooting off their mouth, drinking beer, and listening to country music. That's it. That's why Billy Bob's is there. Why is it that everything is bigger? You know, my slogan is that we want to make our clubs bigger, better, bolder. Well, that's just borrowing the Texas slogan that's been around for 100 years or more. You know, what is it that Texans are such braggarts? Did you ever think about that? You ever heard the Mexican word braggadocio? It was just invented to describe Texans. Stop and think about the cattle business. Missouri has the second largest number of beef cows in the country. Do you know which state has the most? Texas. In Missouri, we say we have the cows and Texas has the bull. Down here, you shoot the bull, you throw the bull, you ship the bull. No one doubts that the biggest bull shippers in the world are here in Texas. And some of those bull shippers don't even own any cattle. That's the interesting thing about Texas. But what we're observing here today, 100 years of Rotary in Texas. Stop and reflect for just a moment what that means to the state of Texas. We have 9 districts, 9 Rotary districts in Texas, probably 500 clubs, probably 20,000 members. And it all started here in Dallas with the organization of that first club in 1911. Usually we think about judging Rotary by what it does for the community and for other people. And that's certainly our finest hour. But have you ever stopped to think, for those of you who are Rotarians and those who are married to Rotarians, what it means to us as Rotarians? For most members of Rotary clubs, their best friends are other Rotarians. And it's not that they just recruited their best friends to join. It's something about going to the weekly meetings and forming that bond, becoming friends through laughter, fellowship, friendship. Young people prefer to call it networking, but it's all the same thing. That's what distinguishes Rotary clubs, is that bond of friendship. And out of that, when we identify a community need, we suddenly decide that out of this cadre of business and professional leaders in the community, that we have the resources and the talent to address the community needs. And that's where Rotary really is well known, what it does for our communities. You know, it's estimated that Rotary clubs around the world, 34,000, reinvest every year in their communities about $1 billion. Isn't that an astounding figure? $1 billion every year that we spend in our communities to make the communities better places. But it's more than that as well, because through our vocational service, we promote high ethical standards. We believe that integrity is important. And we're one of the few organizations outside of religious organizations that are actively promoting integrity and high ethical standards to young people. You know, it's not hard for Rotary clubs to be involved in vocational service because there's no competition. I encourage Rotary clubs to recognize individuals and organizations in their communities that display that they follow the four-way test. My favorite story about vocational service is one that was told by Cliff Randall, who was a former president of Rotary International. His story was about a young man who worked for a big corporation, and one day he had the opportunity to meet the CEO. And he didn't waste the opportunity. He said, "Sir, what are the secrets of success in business?" And the CEO said, "That's easy, son." He said, "It's integrity and wisdom." And the young man said, "Okay, what do you mean by integrity?" And he said, "Well, if you make a promise, you have to keep it. Even if it costs you money, even if it costs you time, even if it causes you to lose face, you have to keep your promises." And the young man said, "Okay, I understand that. What about wisdom?" And he said, "Well, you have to learn not to make those dumb promises." You know, the cowboys say good judgment comes from experience. Most of that experience comes from bad judgment. That's the way it works. But it's probably, as we look at it, what makes Rotary unique is our worldwide fellowship of Rotary clubs. 34,000 clubs, 200 countries. Who would have imagined when the Rotary Club was started here in Dallas in 1911, there were only Rotary clubs in the United States and one club in Canada, Winnipeg, not international at all. And yet, through the years, the idea of Rotary has become so popular. I just came back from India. Do you know that India now has the second largest number of Rotarians of any country in the world? It's past Japan, past Korea, past Brazil. What is there about Rotary that makes us so unique and so attractive? Well, it's this commitment to friendship, to fellowship, recognizing we have the ability to solve community problems, and that we can address international problems. Are you aware that out of the 6 billion people on earth, 2 billion are below the poverty level? 1 billion are slowly starving to death? And it is through the magic of Rotary that we have the opportunity to partner with clubs in those countries to make life a little better for that 2 billion people who are living at a subsistence level. I know that your club has been involved in programs in both Africa and Asia, and I commend you for that. But I would just suggest to you that if you have not traveled to developing countries, you need to put that on your bucket list, because the conditions are unbelievable. I visited the Kibera slum in Nairobi. 1 million people living in a single slum, no roads, no water, no sewer. Think of the conditions of 1 million people living with no roads, no water, no sewer, divided into 9 tribal areas. And the trouble is they've been living there now for 3 or 4 generations. We've got to break that cycle. There is a doctrine in American law that says danger invites rescue. I contend that poverty invites rescue. Once you see it, you know you have to do something personally to make life better than the people who are slowly starving to death. And so, as we think about celebrating 100 years of Rotary in Texas and all the progeny of this club in Texas, probably 500 clubs, most of which trace their lineage here to Dallas. What is it that you can do and will do to encourage those clubs to help out with people that are much less fortunate than we are? You know, I was in Ethiopia at the end of an NID, National Day of Immunization. And I might just mention about National Days of Immunization. You know, India has been our biggest stronghold of polio. Every year for decades, India's had the most cases of polio. And it's been a real challenge to eradicate polio in India because of the density of the population and the lack of sanitation. Stop and think about this. In India, through the help of Rotarians, on National Days of Immunization, we immunize 130 million kids on the same day. Is that not a logistical miracle? And as a result of that, finally we've cracked the code in India. In 2009, there were 700 cases of polio in India. Last year, there were 41. And this year, one. So on my last day in Ethiopia for a National Day of Immunization, we drove out past the airport, across the Great Rift Valley up into the hills. And we went to a little compound where we were going to immunize the children. We were being followed around by a Voice of America camera crew. And they were running late because they had started out without a 4-wheel drive vehicle and they couldn't get there in a 2-wheel drive. They had to shift over. So they were late, and I had a chance to look around this little compound. The women were doing what they've always done. They were making fire bricks out of the compost pile that was made up of human and animal waste. They were doing that without complaint. The men were sitting around just talking. So they brought out some grain for us to eat as snacks. Then they brought out the bucket of beer, homemade beer, and we passed it around. And the first time it came around, I passed. Second time it came around, the nurse on the immunization team looked at me like, well, are you going to do it or not? So I took a drink of the beer. I had some really interesting stuff floating around there. And I thought, oh, well, I have a plane ticket home tomorrow. If I die, they can just throw my body in the seat and take it home. I can tell you the beer tasted better than it looked. And I survived. But I want to tell you about that compound. We were miles from anywhere. Took a four-wheel drive vehicle to get there. There wasn't a single car or motorbike or bicycle in that whole compound. If they wanted to go anywhere, they had to walk miles to get water, to go to the store. They were living life pretty much the way they did 1,000 years ago. And yet we could look across the Great Rift Valley to Addis Ababa and watch those big jet planes land and take off. And I thought to myself, tomorrow I'll get on one of those planes. I'll go back to the USA, land of great affluence. I'll live a very affluent life compared to these people. And the fact that I'm going home and they're staying here is really the luck of the draw. I was born here, they were born there. And it causes you to ask the question, are we our brother's keeper? I think most Rotarians will say, yes, we are our brother's keeper. And so I ask you to go see the conditions and to utilize Rotary to make the world a better place, not only in Texas, but in the places around the world that need our assistance. That's our finest hour. Let me go back to the words of the cowboy song, Cowboy Logic. If there's a job, do it. Put your whole back into it, because a little bit of dirt will wash off in the rain. If it's a horse, ride it. If it hurts, hide it. Just dust yourself off and get back on again. That's cowboy logic. Every cowboy's got it. He's got a simple solution to just about everything. Stop and think about that. I've paraphrased the words a bit to fit Rotary, and that is, if it's a community need, fill it. Put your whole club into it, because that's what Rotary clubs do the best. If it's a global need, go see it. Then put your whole soul into it, because that's how Rotarians meet the test. We do it better than anyone else in the world. And I thank you for what you do to make Rotary an opportunity for ordinary people to do extraordinary things with their life. That's our final gift to the world, is that we are committed to making the world a better place, and we do it better than anyone else in the world. Thank you.
That's cowboy life.
Thank you, President Ray. What a great message. I got to tell you, I'm so impressed. I fully expected to hear that Pat's Rotary speech that he's given 200 or 300 times all over the world, and to make it special for us, it's remarkable. What a great, true message. And it just makes you feel so proud to be a Rotarian, what we're doing all over the world. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your message. I'm also glad to know that we've also outsourced Rotary to India. I guess we're outsourcing everything to India, but when you start introducing people, you always forget. And so I want to step back for a second. We have the Group Study Exchange team from France here with us. I'd like to ask them to stand up if they would. And I'd like to ask our district governor, Linda Elliott. Linda, would you please stand up, our district governor? And all other district governors that are with us today, would you please stand up? Past district governors. David. Thank you very much. It's hard to believe David and I were just talking 20 years ago, 3 weeks ago, was the Spirit of America rally that they were talking about in the Dallas Morning News this morning. And doesn't that make you proud to think? David told us earlier that he was speaking to someone in the military that 3 years ago, the USS Nimitz was going into the Persian Gulf, and the commander of the ship asked everyone to stand down, and he wanted to show him a video, and he showed him the Spirit of America rally to let him know what was going on 20 years ago. So it's good to know it's still with us and the impact it had on our military. Clarice Tensley has been a great friend of the Rotary Club of Dallas. We honored her with a Paul Harris Fellow, and she has put together a video on our Centennial. I'd like to ask you to watch that now and enjoy the video.
The purpose of the Rotary Club of Dallas since 1911 has remained the same: to serve others. In 2011, the Rotary Club of Dallas continues to draw upon this foundation and heritage of service above self to create programs that address difficult community challenges, including children at risk, health care, poverty, and education. In the next 10 minutes, we will share an overview of the first 100 years of the Rotary Club of Dallas service to the Dallas community. A 100-year history book was published and is available with all the interesting historical details and information. It started in 1911 with an insurance executive who traveled to San Francisco and New Orleans and discovered the concept of Rotary. He brought the idea to Dallas. On April 20th, 1911, 39 business, professional, and community leaders gathered at the Oriental Hotel to form the Rotary Club of Dallas, the first in Texas, the second in the Gulf States, and the 39th in Rotary. From the beginning, the club saw ways to serve the community. Throughout its first decade, the club hosted newsboys for special lunches and holiday dinners. The club set up savings accounts for 150 boys, starting each boy with a $1 deposit. The club encouraged the boys to save money, and for those who saved up to $3, an additional $5 was given to attend summer camp. Service became a way of life in the club. In 1916, the focus of the entire nation changed. The emphasis of the club changed with it. The idea of service took on a new meaning as club members prepared to support their country during World War I. The club marched in the Dallas Preparedness Day Parade, pledged to support citizens' military camps, and many other support services were formed. This began a long history of the club and its members supporting the military and veterans. The club embraced its role as a community leader that would care for others. During World War II, members served as air raid wardens, worked with the Dallas Civilian Defense, and worked with the USO to find rooms for servicemen in transit. These efforts with the USO launched a 70-year relationship that continues today. Sadly, World War II was not the last war. Rotarians continued to serve in Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Through all of these conflicts, Rotarians at home have steadfastly supported their members, the troops, and their families. Key events that show the dedication of the club to their servicemen and women can be seen through the 1991 Spirit of America rally that the club organized and brought together over 45,000 people to cheer for our troops at Texas Stadium. Speeches and songs were videotaped with copies sent to the Armed Forces Network for broadcast. This thank you to the troops was heard round the world. Today, the club shows its support annually for our military men and women, and especially our veterans through the premier Salute to America's Veterans program, which focuses on reorganizing and honoring our veterans. Through this program, the club also raises awareness and funds for the DFW USO. Education has been the focus of the club since the early beginning. In 1919, the club established the Student Loan Fund, the first of its kind in Rotary. At that time, Rotary published a feature article in its magazine, The Rotarian, telling clubs to use the Student Loan Fund as a model to provide educational assistance. If children are to build successful lives, they must earn a solid education. This long-held belief of the Rotary Club of Dallas has provided both leadership and programs to enhance the lives of students in Dallas schools during the last century. Educational program examples are Outstanding Teacher Awards for Service Above Self. This long-standing awards program calls attention to the importance of service in the community. It provides an opportunity to publicly recognize teachers and reward those who go the extra mile. Nominees are solicited from across the Dallas Independent School District. Winners in the elementary, middle, and high school categories each receive a cash award. Awards are given annually at a special Rotary meeting. The Teachers Award Fund was established in 1991, and the first awards were given in 1992. Dallas Rotarians Enabling Achievement Mentoring Scholars, or the Dream Team. This program was initiated in 2005 at Woodrow Wilson High School as a way to help better identify and work with kids who had the best chance of success with a little encouragement. Rules like regular re-enrollment in the program help ensure that kids keep striving. The Dream Team meets once a month in the school library to help students prepare for college and life. The mentors make a 7-year commitment from sophomore year of high school to senior year of college. As of 2010, more than $124,000 in scholarships was awarded to Dream Team students. 48 high school and college students are enrolled in the program currently. The I Like Me Book Literacy Program. In cooperation with other volunteers, club members annually read to thousands of kindergartners in Dallas public schools. Each year, a child is given a personalized copy of the book, I Like Me, to encourage the joy of reading. In 1998, under the leadership of President John Buell, the Rotary Club of Dallas kicked off its book literacy program thanks to $25,000 from the Dallas Rotary Club Foundation and an additional $10,000 from the Southwestern Bell Pioneers, an employee and retiree volunteer group. On March 3, 1999, the Dallas Independent School District provided 37 school buses which transported more than 400 volunteers to 74 different elementary schools. More than 7,400 students were read to and received their own books. The program continues each year with volunteers from several civic organizations as well as Dallas police officers and firefighters taking part. By 2010, the program delivered books to more than 43,000 DISD kindergartners. Camp Enterprise. Over 26 years ago, Rotarian Doug Reeder brought an idea to the Rotary Club of Dallas. He envisioned a camp for Dallas area high school seniors to explore the fundamental challenges, opportunities, and obligations of the free enterprise system. Under his leadership, the first Dallas Rotary Camp Enterprise was held in 1985. Doug wrote at the time, "The free enterprise system has enabled the United States of America to become the greatest nation in the history of the world. We enjoy freedoms no one else has ever enjoyed. The role of Camp Enterprise is not to brainwash or indoctrinate, but rather to awaken its virtues when presented by those who've been blessed by them speak for themselves." The camp is an intensive 3-day seminar on business issues. Students interact with business executives, entrepreneurs, politicians, and government representatives in a setting designed to promote the exchange of ideas and camaraderie. Since its beginning, the camp has served more than 3,000 students teaching the free enterprise system. Serving not only in the schools, but in the community, as always, has been a priority. Throughout its history, the club has sought to assist the children of Dallas. In 1972, the townhouse was created and purchased at 4836 Junius Street for the price of $25,500. It opened the next year as a halfway house for troubled boys. These young men, aged 10 to 17, could stay from 3 months to 1 year. They received the guidance needed to return to their families. After 20 years, the Rotary townhouse was transferred and then operated by the Salvation Army until 2002. In 1991, the Kidwell Grant was established by a generous Rotarian, General Graber Kidwell. The Kidwell Grant was very specific about the purpose of the fund and explained in detail in his final will and testament. The fund is to award those in desperate need a one-time grant of roughly $100 to $500 per incident. Since the fund's inception, it's assisted individuals and families by giving nearly $100,000. Currently, the club is partnered with YMCA, Salvation Army, DFW USO, American Red Cross, and the Rotary Club of Dallas's Interact Club, Adopt a Family program to assist families in the Dallas community through the Kidwell Fund. In 1999, the club worked with Bank One, which became the title sponsor of the Senior PGA Tour Championship. Through the tournament, the club raised $180,000 in 2 years that they worked with Bank One. The money was used for Rotary charities, specifically $100,000 to furnish a room at Children's Hospital of Dallas in celebration of Rotary International's Centennial in 2005. The remaining $80,000 was used to sponsor Texas Scholars for Dallas ISD. This Texas Scholars program eventually was transformed into what is today's Dream Team Mentoring and Scholarship Program. In 2002, the club launched its first bike rodeo with the Dallas Police Department. It was held at Texas Scottish Rite Hospital and chaired by Herb Newton and Craig Hutton. Dennis Connolly provided food. More than 500 guests came to learn about bike safety. The bike rodeo continues today. Working in partnership with the hospital's Child Safety Day, the club provides thousands of Dallas children with information and safety instruction. Each child who attends leaves with an understanding of bike safety as well as a helmet fitted by the Rotarians. Then in 2005, the club joined other civic-minded citizens to launch Safer Dallas, Better Dallas, a group dedicated to working with law enforcement to improve public safety in Dallas. For its initial effort, Safer Dallas, Better Dallas obtained a commitment of $110,000 from Rotarians. These monies were matched 3-to-1 by an anonymous grant that, among other initiatives, helped the Dallas Police Department purchase more than $300,000 of assault rifles to level the playing field for patrol officers in their fight against crime. Ultimately, the work of organizations like Safer Dallas, Better Dallas helped the city lower its crime rate several years in a row. Over the years, the club has donated and provided many other services. More recently, in 2005, Dallas Rotarians supported the Red Cross locally and nationally to help survivors of Hurricane Katrina. In 2008, in the aftermath of Hurricane Ike, the club assisted in disaster relief efforts by donating $10,000 to the American Red Cross, $10,000 to the Salvation Army, and $10,000 to the Rotary Club of Galveston. The Galveston Club provided these funds to small local businesses that had been damaged in the storm. In 2001, the club built a school with $15,000 that the club raised. In 2006, the club raised additional funds for Amando Nuo Elementary School's upkeep and refurbishment. In 2008, to help those in need, Rotarians Peter Fitzwilliam and David Vilbig traveled to Ghana, Africa, to the remote village of Sinkondi Takoradi. There they helped commission 2 water wells and 6 latrine stalls, which served more than 4,000 women and children. Shortly after the 2 Rotarians returned home, they petitioned the club for funds to make repairs at the local hospital, which was missing windows in the maternity wing and needed repaving outside. The club responded with a donation of $2,500. $500. The club's contributions to multiple charities and organizations in the city did not go unnoticed or unheralded. The club received the Clara Barton Award for Service, the highest award granted to volunteers by the American Red Cross. This recognized the club's financial contributions to disaster relief efforts as well as its work in local blood drives. 2 years later, the club earned recognition from the Dallas Independent School District as its top volunteer organization. In the years since the club established the Dallas Rotary Club Foundation as the nonprofit arm of the club, it has donated in today's dollars $9.5 million. As the Rotary Club of Dallas looks forward to the next 100 years, the foundation, heritage, and processes are firmly in place for a century of even greater service, both in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and internationally. There's still plenty of work to be done. From small cabins on the Trinity, Dallas has become a mighty city. During the next century, Dallas is poised to become one of the great cities of the world, and its citizens will lead the way.
Well, that ought to make you proud, Rotarians, huh? That's pretty awesome. Let's give it another big hand. That's a lot of good hard work. I'd like to ask Ben Casey to come up, please, and tell you about some other great stuff that the Rotary Club of Dallas is doing. Ben is the incoming president of our club beginning in July. He's been a member of the club for over 24 years. He's the current president of Philanthropic Horizons. Ben Casey.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Roy. You know, as we entered this year, our 100th year, we had quite a challenge in front of us. And part of it was to not only celebrate 100 years of its and the hundreds of other Texas clubs' service to our communities, but to also lay the foundation for a second 100 years of service. To meet our challenge, and meet this challenge, our club accepted the goal of creating a Dallas, Texas Centennial Center that is planned to be in the children's section of the new Woodall Deck Park that will open within a year. The Rotary Centennial Center is a planned 20-foot diameter circular Rotary emblem plaza that will serve as the main gathering area in the park's children's area. In the center of the plaza will be a large oak tree with a 15-foot tall spiral crow's nest structure that will allow the youth leaders to assemble their charges on the circular benches around the perimeter of the plaza. It's also called the reading tree. In addition to the Rotary history signage that will be boldly inscribed is the values of Rotary, our four-way test, on each side of the plaza. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And in the center of the plaza will be our motto, service above self. To meet this goal, the club accepted the ambitious challenge of raising a minimum of $500,000 and a needed goal of $550,000 from our members. I'm pleased to announce today that thanks to the generosity of the members of our members of this club, we have surpassed the minimum goal and are well on our way to meeting the needed goal. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ben. What a great project and something we're going to be proud of for the next 100 years. I'd like to ask David Templin, the incoming district governor of District 6450, who has a special presentation by Chicago Rotary 1. David?
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here today on behalf of Rotary 1 and District 6450, the birthplace of Rotary, to congratulate the Rotary Club of Dallas on a century of service and to present to President David a banner that was our Centennial banner in 2005, signed by our Centennial president at the time. I also have a letter of congratulations from our president this year, Andrea Lumen. and a special gift of a pen that we commissioned. There was only 100 of these made in 2005, marking the 100th anniversary of Rotary. And David, I want to present this to you as well.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Was that great or what? That was absolutely wonderful. I also have, that's the Chicago Rotary 1. I also have the San Francisco Rotary 2, which was where our founder went to. So I have both of those pins now, and I'm going to be kind of leaning like this because I got too much weight on me. At this time, I would like for President Ray to come back up. We have some speaker gifts for you. Now, as you probably have heard, he's from Missouri. He came in from India through Germany and then into DFW Airport. And sometimes they don't understand that when it's out at DFW Airport, all that international travel stuff. So I have prepared for you a Texas passport. And it will, if you present this to the customs people at DFW Airport, they will let you in, no questions asked.
Fantastic.
It's official, vested in the power by me, which is really not very much. But that's okay. This is Texas. We also have an advanced reader's copy of our Centennial book that we would like to present to you.
Fantastic. Okay. Rotary Club of Dallas.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, one more. President Ray, we are honored and privileged to have you here, and we are even more honored by your commitment to Rotary and its objectives, providing service, ethics, understanding, and goodwill throughout the world. Your leadership is truly appreciated, and we would like to present you with a check for $10,000 contribution to the Rotary Foundation International Fund End Polio Now. This contribution was made possible by the generosity of Bill, Phyllis, and John Slicker, and thank y'all very much for that. Thank you. Absolutely. We got plenty of time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the gifts, and I wanted to let you know that the hat, the big hat, was a gift from David Christ and Linda Elliott, so that I could pretend today to be a cowboy. And that's appropriate because I really do believe that the words of cowboy logic have application to Rotary. And so I'm willing and happy and honored to carry that message. Thank you.
Now if you will please stand. We're going to close by singing God Bless America, led by Wanda Jones.
May God bless our troops, our veterans. God bless you. And by all means, God bless America. God. Intro. And that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide before. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans right before. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Wanda. If you would remain standing, we're going to retire our colors with Pack and Troop 915.
Scouts, attention! Scouts, forward march! Scouts, retrieve colors.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'd like to thank our Boy Scout troop for handling that for us. We would like to thank Roy Bailey, Gary Griffith, Ben Casey, and all of those who participated in the program today. This event took many long hours of planning and preparation, and we would like to let everyone know how much we truly appreciate their handiwork and services. We would like to especially acknowledge our luncheon event chair, John Forrest, and our member, Greg Wood, for his hard work and services to the club. We would like to thank our executive director, Heather Jennings, for her countless hours, organization, and the attention to detail, which are invaluable. We would like to thank a special thanks to President Ray. Thank you for your dedication to Rotary, our Rotarians, and improving the world in which we live. We wish everyone a safe journey home. Please collect a gift bag as you leave on your way out as a gift to you for attending this luncheon. This is the beginning of Century 2. We are adjourned.